a hill and across the road.
By then, Itzhak Messer was already gone. His name figures in the Jewish Book of Remembrance, the Yizkor book, as do the names of all the Messers of Biblica, exterminated.
Messer left me a gift, though. A work of art that contains and offers his gaze. It is the first and only photograph I have of my mother as a young child, 4.5 years old, struggling in the arms of her father, sitting next to her mother, a sister, and one brother. A familiar look of defiance in her eyes.
When I stood and wept before the icons of the brain, the calf was sleeping. I found the most wonderful street of ladies. I wandered in parks and gardens, in disturbances of green, in nettles, in the most untended gardens in Europe. My surprise was that I write in English.
For the calf had lain down in its skin to sleep. It was a horse then, leaping sideways, shaking the shadow of soil. No leaf bract moving, fell slowly from the saddle, its smell of wet leather in tree disturbances of green.
What names did I give those lonely words before they repeated me? Aside from an outcry, a task of home. My interior, vigilant naturally as a horse on scented pavement. My throat awake in the street of lindens. We both have known the grace of horses. Our plea to cross the soil.
I woke up from that sleep and honored her, and only wept now, 8 months later. When I stood before the horse whose speech is foreshortened, is all throat, faceless in the linden city, its right ear sewn inward. Unmentionable hills, horses, dreams, trout, ewes, unmentionable. Linden stamens yellowed, fallen, rest silent on wet roofs where we have rain.
As love is, home is at the icons of the brain. I stood and wept in veneration and shouldered her as horse, as welter, being one last time, please lift us skyward, calf and stamen.
Suddenly, we are bound by laws that avow the body, an enigma in the cells. Plasma, cells, ewes, horses. A walk on a street of lindens, the inside of my brain. The inside of the brain lit blue, its icon that they turn in 3D blue on screen to show me. I wanted to be brave then, to open us fully to waking.
In the book, its throat cut wide by a maddened robber. The boy held tight the horse's neck and pressed a hand there to beg its body not to die. There was a river and clay to staunch the flow. We have neither. How many times I have written this river before you. Throat I touch with just a gaze. Aches. I raise up these arms, extend my hand. Oh, Mama, you are this horse. We are this calf. I am this girl, this boy.
found the most astonishing street of lindens. I wandered in parks and gardens, in disturbances of green, in rain on roses, in camadas of stamens blown from trees, in the lush arboreal majesty of June, in the paseo along the rivers, and in the Camposantos, in the most untended gardens in Europe. I wake with my arms and open shoulder. The grass grows high, and viburnum blooms, and linden stamens fall as rain.
When my mother was dying, she told me that people do not need graves, for their descendants can pray to trees. We think of her when we go out into the trees, for trees are prayers. In Ukraine, in Alberta. Everybody comes from somewhere, Mom.
No, not everybody. Some people come from nowhere.
You came with a passport, Mati, long before you came from somewhere.
When there was no one left, it became nowhere. There were no more letters after.
I remember the last sound my own mother called out the city of my birth. I turned to her and spoke as I was meant to. A mother is the unmentionable boundary which can never come full and clear. And beyond this door, time no longer exists. I like to wake up in my city at 5:30 and sit at a cafe table by the window. I'm awake when no one else is, drinking coffee, feeling the various of the body's demises, but quietly glad. Beside me is the cancer hat. For a long time after she died, it carried the soft perfume of her head, the smell of a baby, as if my mother's thoughts were still in it. Not the brain tumor thoughts, but the thoughts that worked in spite of the brain tumor, trying to straighten out the world that the tumor had ruined. How many trees are out there? She'd ask me, my ever mathematical mother. Numbers order the outside world, but we're also a kind of intimacy with it. There are 9 trees. The body itself is exile. Numbers construct a world where trees can shimmer